Hi, I'm Doug McKinlay, and you're watching Adorama TV. For today's episode, we're going to put a little twist in our portraits using Lightroom. Now, for the most part, what we're looking for in portraits is a nice, soft, pleasing look, and that's fine. But every now and then, you'll come across an image that could really benefit from adding a little grunge, a little drama, a little more intensity. So that's what we're going to do today. First and foremost, we're going to find our image, which is totally up to you, and then we're going to run it through Lightroom and hopefully bump up the grunge scale. So we've got our picture. It's of this gentleman in Afghanistan, and as you can see from this raw file, he already looks a bit intense and dramatic. So we're going to hopefully improve upon that. Now my first step is to go to the Lens Correction tab and click on the top two boxes, which takes some distortion, any residual distortion out of the image. Then we're going to go to the Basics tab, and this is where we're going to do a lot of our work. Now from here, what we're going to do is we're going to bump our exposures up to about 36, around 36-ish. So don't get too bent out of shape if you don't hit the exact on. You can do it by increments as well. And the contrast, we're going to bump that up to about 50, around 50-ish. About there. And from there, we're going to go to our highlights slider, and we're going to bring that down to about 60, minus 60. You can already see the effect starting to look on this gentleman's face. And the shadows, we're going to add plus 40, kind of deepen the shadows a little bit. And this is where we're going to get to our white and black points. We haven't touched on this yet, but we're going to really really go to town on these. So plus 50 on the whites, ish, and then minus 40 on the blacks. So what we've done with these settings is we've increased the dynamic range, we have set the strong black point, and increased the contrast. So the image is starting to look like something, but it looks a bit oversaturated, which we'll try and take care of in the next step. We're going to grab the clarity slider, and we're going to drag it up to 90. Vibrance plus 20. And then the saturation, starting around minus 40, it's starting to look like a bleach bypass picture more than anything else. So I'm just going to steal a little bit of that back, maybe go to about maybe to 30. Now we've got a pretty good looking picture now. The clarity, boosting the clarity is going to increase the mid-tone contrast and sharpen up the picture. The desaturation helps with the intensity. The penultimate step is to adjust the details. Now we'll just close down the Basics tab and we'll open up the Detail tab. Now we're going to really drag the sharpening up to about 90. You can see how that's affected the image. You can see all the detail in his beard here is starting to really come out. Radius up to about 2. Noise reduction with the luminance, we're going to just go up to about 30. This just helps with really heavy-handed sharpening around there. Detail we'll leave as is. So you can start to see that this picture is really different from the beginning. Kind of our last area to look at is click on Effects. We're looking for the post-crop vignetting, and this is a real personal thing here. You drag it to the left and you'll start to see the vignetting coming in. I personally like lots of vignetting on these kind of images. Grab the feather tool, drag that to the right, and it will help the transition levels become a little smoother. Now one of the last adjustments I'm going to make is I'm just going to grab the brush, make sure it's just covering the eye. Double click on Effects to bring everything back to 0, and I'm going to just grab the exposure slider and take it up a little smidge. 25, 24 is fine. I'm just going to do a slight drag across the eyes, just to make them stand out a little more. Close that down, and we're pretty much there. The last thing to do is look at the before and after, and you can see the final image, the way it looks after all those adjustments. I do stress that these are very subjective and that every photographer should make these adjustments to suit their own tastes. So that's it for me. I'm Doug McKinlay for Adorama TV. Don't forget, you can also subscribe to Adorama TV for more great videos. And tell us what you think. You can like, comment, or share this video. And please stop by the Adorama Learning Center for more great tips and tricks.